You okay? Are you okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. That's enough. That's enough. You'll feed. Hey guys, how's it going? It has been another great week, and we have another great week coming up. So here we are with another Q&A. Ooh, there was a hummingbird that just flew so close. I don't know if that was in the shot, but it flew right in the path of us. Okay, let's go over a couple things really quick. I wanted to say, the first thing was I've had a couple people comment that they were no longer subscribed after they knew that they were subscribed. So if you have subscribed, if you could just take a minute to double check that you're still subscribed. We're actually losing subscribers kind of at an alarming rate, so it makes sense if that's happening. So just check that out for me. let me know if YouTube unsubscribed you, because I've had a couple of those comments, so that just kind of sent me into a little bit of a worry. And if you haven't subscribed, maybe today's your chance that you do want to subscribe. If you watched a couple of my videos, hang out, hit that subscribe button. It is free. You don't have to pay to subscribe, which is really weird because most things when you subscribe to something, it's a cost. For YouTube, it is not a cost. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks for hanging out with me. And then there was something else that I wanted to go over. So our Mama's Kitchen candle is back in stock, and it is the perfect fall candle. We did a limited quantity for this last restock on them. So if you've been wanting one, go check them out. We've probably burnt 5. I love these candles. They're hands down the best candle. I gave my sister one of them and she was like, oh my gosh, please let me have more of them. So they really are the best smelling candle. They are a soy wax candle. They burn clean, and they are made by a small woman-owned company. So I just wanted to shout that out. And if you do buy them on our website, we are offering them at a discount from what you would buy them from the wholesaler company from. So it's from a company called Antique Candleworks. We were able to get them in at a great rate, and so we were able to kind of bring that down for the price compared to what they sell them for on their website. So check them out. So with those things being said, and I thought there was one more thing, but maybe I'll remember. We'll see what happens. With that being all said, though, let's get into the Q&A. Last week we did the Q&A. Am I planting tulips this year? And favorite paint colors, which you can find on our blog. The next video was planting a new coreopsis and hardy phlox. Then we did making over a friend's yard on a budget. That turned out amazing. Creating cohesiveness, planting serendipity alliums. And then we had also done a window box refresh for fall and plant shopping. So it was a pretty good week. And you're probably gonna hear the babies screaming behind us because we do have a couple babies if you haven't seen that. So just an update on that. We have 3 babies right now, which is kind of exciting because we didn't think we were gonna have any babies, but when they are babies, they scream. The second mom leaves the nest, they scream until she comes back with food. So you're gonna hear that through probably the next 2 weeks. The first video that we did was the Am I Planting Tulips This Year and Favorite Colors? And the first question on that video is from Addie, and she had said, how are you in a zone 9 with birch trees? What type of birch trees are those? Those are called river birch, and they are growing zones 4 through 9. They are amazing trees. I love them. I had planted 3 of them. 1 died, so we just have a duo. I wanted a trio, but things happen. We bought them bare root, which is something that I highly recommend if you are in a zone 9, if you want to do birch trees. Get them very, very early in the springtime. That way, before they break dormancy, you can have them wake up in their native soil or in the soil that they're going to be growing in, instead of having them be root pruned and be shoved into a container. So highly recommend buying bare root trees if you can get your hands on them. A local nursery called the Rock Garden carries them. Bare root, they carry a ton of bare root trees, and they're usually a third the price that you would normally buy trees at. So those, basically you skip there's the sleep, creep, and leap year, and you pretty much skip the sleep year, the first year that they're in the ground. You can see some growth, which is really, really cool because they wake up in their native soil, and you also have to dig a much smaller hole. Highly recommend getting your hands on some bare root trees. I will be doing some videos about it this spring. But they are zones 4 through 9. They're just extremely water hungry. So if you're gonna plant them somewhere, you need to make sure that they have a ton of drip irrigation to wherever they're at. If you're in a zone 9, well, if you're in any zone, make sure that they have a ton of water, because birch trees, these are river birch, and they grow next to a river, meaning they like a lot of water. The next question on that video was from Sonia, and she had said, does your hard water get on the leaves of your plants and stick to them? I have heard that hard water can do that and mess up the beauty of your leaves. They do. So we do very little overhead watering. Everything is on drip irrigation for that exact reason. The only thing that like gets overhead watering is our grass area where I'm sitting right now. And there is some overspray, and on some plants you can definitely tell. Anytime that there's glass or like a solid surface, you can definitely tell, you can totally feel it. Like you should feel the shower. It is awful. And our sinks too, it's terrible. So yes, it does get on the leaves. If you go to any of the nurseries, because they all do overhead water here, almost all of them, every plant that they sell has hard water on it. Usually it goes away by the time you get it planted, and then it flushes out with a new set of like leaves or whatever. But yeah, it's really hard here. You have to do like drip irrigation to make it so that your plants look nice. The next question on that video is from Steve, and he had said, do you need to place tulip bulbs in the refrigerator, the vegetable section, for pre-chill in the fall? Some species of tulips should be perennial for you. I have not found any that are perennial. They all, like none of them come back for us. And if they do come back, they come back very spotty. Like I could plant 100 and maybe 6 or 7 would come up. So I do refrigerate all of my tulip bulbs. I actually really need to find a refrigerator. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace for one because I need to pre-chill my bulbs, and I have, I think, like 1,000 bulbs coming or something like that. This is the first time Brent's hearing about this. And so I need to find a refrigerator because you don't want to keep your tulip bulbs in your normal refrigerator, especially if you have fruit next to them, because fruit releases ethanol gas, and the ethanol gas kills off your the survival rate of your tulip bulbs. So you want to keep them in separate areas, or if you're going to keep them in your house fridge, you just want to make sure you don't have any fruit in your refrigerator at all. Otherwise your bulbs will die. So I do need to get another refrigerator for them. And yes, I do pre-chill all my bulbs. That was a long rant. And the last question on that video is from Lucinda, and she had said, have you tried the product called CLR to clean the minerals off your windows? You may want to dilute it at first. We have tried everything. We've tried CLR, we have tried the pink stuff, we have tried vinegar, we have tried, there's like this one called hard water remover or something like that. We've tried that one. And then there's this green bottle that we just bought, and it's worked the best in the shower and on our sink, but it's not been great. It comes right back, and it took a ton of elbow grease. I was down there with like a drill bit, or with a drill and like a scouring pad on the end of a drill to try to like get the hard water off, and I spent probably an hour and it didn't even get all of it off. So it's really, really bad here, and we have yet to find something that like really works. I would probably have to get some like heavy chemicals, like some type of acid that's like professional grade. Like you would probably have to have a license for it or something like that, because it's bad here. Like your skin feels really tight after. The next video that we did was planting new coreopsis and hardy phlox, and they're great. They're all surviving. They've all been great. The phlox, actually one of them, the one that had the little tiny bit of blooms, it did bloom that one little spike, and it was so cute. It's actually still blooming. So it's really, really cool to see that, because I did not expect to see any blooms at all. So it was cool to see one little tiny bloom, just to get like a little sneak peek of what it's going to do for next year. And the first question on that video is from Julie, and she had said, Robbie, do you know, can you paint the Hoselink? Have you ever tried? Just curious. Thank you. I always learn from your posts, but you are so funny. I laugh like a fool by myself. People stare if I'm in public. I'm glad that you enjoy them. And we've actually been trying to upload like shorter videos, because I do a lot of really funny ones. So if you go to the shorts tab here on YouTube, you'll see my like funny shorts. And I spend a lot of time on them, and I do think that they are really funny, and I think that they are enjoyable. So if you think that my long format is funny, go check out the short ones. I know a lot of people don't watch the short videos, but if you enjoy the long ones, you'll get, you know, every day recently I've been trying to upload one extra short. So you'll get just a little extra sneak peek of, you'll get to spend a little extra time with me, I guess, is what it is. So thank you for that. And then as far as painting the Hoselinks, I have never painted them. I don't know if I would paint them. You would have to maybe go with something like an automotive spray paint, because they're going to be outside. And I mean, we leave ours year-round outdoors. I know a lot of people who live like in harsher climates do bring them in during the winter time. But if you're gonna paint it, I would probably go with an automotive paint, not with like a latex paint or a spray paint or anything like that. Go hardcore automotive paint. And I don't know. I like the black one and I like the tan one because those go with kind of my colors anyways. I mean, our house is white, so like the tan one does like contrast it just a little bit, but I do think it is fine. I'm gonna say do it at your own risk. That's all I have to say of that. The next question on that video is from Yellow Daisy, and she had said, can you please let us know what mole vole repellent? We have them bad. Yes, I will link that in the description down below. I will also pop a picture up on the screen because I don't remember what they're called at this moment, but they have worked fabulously. They are, you can hear them. They are slightly annoying, but it's not bad. It's not like when I had unboxed it. If you want to go back and you can watch the entire video. We will try to link that in the description down below also. If you want to, also you can go back to the Planting Proven Winners Back to the Fuchsia Salvia and mole/gopher prevention, and you can see exactly what we used, and that's when we first put them in. It's actually a kind of a funny video because it did scare me, and I was not prepared for the way that it was going to like sound, but they have worked absolutely amazing. We have not seen, I don't think any. Have you seen any? Very little. Brent says that he's seen very little. We actually saw one pile in the grass area, but that's been pretty much it, which has been amazing. So I think get the stronger ones. I unboxed some solar powered ones, and I unboxed some ones that take 3D batteries, and the ones that take 3D batteries are much more powerful. And I do think that those work the best. I did put those ones in an area that we were having the biggest issue, and I have not seen any mole activity or gopher activity or whatever it was in that area at all. The next question on that video was from Truth Talker, and they had said, I don't understand putting a plant that grows higher in the front. The coreopsis is going to hide the yarrow. Do you take into consideration the mature size of plants when planting? I'm so confused. I do take into consideration the mature size of plants. That is, I don't like the foliar growth of yarrow at all. I think it's actually really ugly. And so I wanted to kind of hide that, especially yarrow, the foliar growth on it, at least in my area, fades and it turns brown and crispy because the leaves on it are so, like, they're very thin. And so they turn crispy very easy. And so I tried to hide them by putting the coreopsis in there, and then it'll be kind of, it'll be slightly staggered, the yarrow blooms and then the coreopsis. But also if you're walking back from the shed up to the front, the yarrow is actually, you'll see the yarrow first and then you'll see the coreopsis. So the way that that small drift is kind of planted is you're gonna see it from both sides. So that's kind of that's my thought on it. And also it's gardening, it's not that serious. I just do what feels right in that moment. The next question on that video is from Saffron Herbs, and they had said, hi there, are you no longer a Monrovia person? Wondering if I missed something. Thank you for the video. I am no longer working with any plant company. I'm not working with Proven Winners either. They had just sent out a truckload of plants is all it really was. And then I went up to Wintour Gardens and I had found some plants up there. So that's why you guys are seeing a ton of Proven Winners plants in my garden right now, is just because they had sent out a bunch and then I found a whole bunch up at Wintour. And Wintour carries some Monrovia, but they didn't carry a whole lot. I think I saw a ton of hostas, but I just wasn't looking for hostas. But other than that, they carried a lot of different brands and a ton of Proven Winners stuff up there, which I didn't know. So that's kind of cool. So I'm not working with anybody, not out of any reason other than the contract that I had signed with Monrovia was just a very short contract. And I did mention that in a video a while ago. I had announced that I was working with Monrovia, and then I think the following Q&A I had mentioned the title is like elaborating on my partnerships, and I think that's where I had said that it was a 3-month contract with them. So it was just for the main growing season that we were working together, and it was great. And I got some really beautiful plants. I'm staring at one of them right now. It's one of my new favorite roses. It's the Itsy Bitsy Peach Rose, Peach Nectarine. It's the Itsy Bitsy Rose. It's like peach or nectarine or something like that, and I love it. It's so cute. Perfect little landscape rose. Yeah, so I'm not working with anybody. I just work with Bootstrap Farmer, and even that we're gonna take a little break from each other so I don't keep like inundating you guys with a ton of like just Bootstrap stuff. And so I, as of this moment, am no longer working with any brand, and it's not like out of spite or anything like that. I needed to take a breather, and I needed to slow down, and I needed to recenter myself and figure out which way this channel is going and what is happening here. So that's all it boils down to. And I'll probably end up working with Monrovia or Proven Winners or other plant brands on a one-off basis here and there, but it's never going to be, well, I don't want to say never, because my life changes daily. But I want to say, as of now, I don't plan to fully commit to any plant brand. I mean, one, the plant brands don't want to do a full commitment. That's very scary for them. And then also, I don't want to. It just kind of leaves me the opportunity and the chance to just work with whatever I want to work with and do whatever I want to do. I mean, every single plant brand can't carry every single plant. And unless I worked with a plant brand who gave me the freedom to be like, yeah, if we don't carry this plant, you can go buy that plant and you can talk about that plant, even though it's a different brand. But most companies that you work with want, it's called exclusivity, and they want you to only talk about their brand. So that's kind of the hard part. And it's, I don't know, it's not the joy of gardening for me. So I'm getting back to the bare basics and going different direction with what I'm doing here. And the last question on that video is from Marlene, and she had said, "Hi Robbie, everything looks gorgeous. Do you still have a discount code for Bootstrap Farmer? I'm thinking of getting a starter set." I do not have a discount code. I've never had a discount code for them. I've just worked with them, and it was mostly just for them to get exposure and get their name out there. So I don't have a coupon code, but if you do click on the link in any description of any video that I have out there, because their link is in the description of it, it actually tremendously helps me out and shows them that you guys are interested in Bootstrap Farmer. So if you are thinking about getting the starter kit, which I highly recommend, it is a investment piece, but it is something that you will never have to buy again. So highly recommend it. And they are a small company. There is, I think, like 6 employees or something like that. And they're a really, really cool company. They've been so good to me. They've been so kind. They're like, hey, whatever products you want, whatever products you need, let us know. We got you. Sorry, Freya's eating a fly, chasing a fly. She did not catch it. Anyways, they're amazing to work with. But if you are thinking about it, I highly recommend the seed starting kit, the starter bundle. It comes with your trays, it comes with your cells, it comes with humidity domes, it comes with everything that you need to start, and it comes in all the colors. So if you're thinking about getting it, use the link, help me out a little bit. It just helps them see that people are clicking on the link through me, I guess, if that makes any sense. And the next video that we did was making over a friend's yard on a budget, and it turned out so well. And turns out her irrigation is not on. I asked her yesterday when I had seen her, and so the fountain hasn't been working because it's not refilling, but she is hand watering everything that's in containers, and so everything is still alive. The fountain's just no longer on, so she's got to figure out her irrigation. I might run down and help her one of these days when I get off of work. She also does hair. She's a barber at a barbershop that I used to work at. So maybe one of these days I'll run down and help her figure that out so she doesn't have to hand water everything. But it turned out so good. We did it for $150, and I'm just like beyond pleased with how it turned out. And so it seems like you guys enjoyed it too. And there was only a couple questions on that video. The first question on that video was from Cynthia, and she had said, "Robbie, what is wrong with Miracle-Gro soil?" The brand has just kind of been in hot heat for a while, for the last couple years. They use a lot of synthetics in their soil and in their fertilizers, and that's just kind of a hot topic. And so I try to stay away from it because I just don't want any of the like flack on the channel, and I don't want anyone just saying anything. So I mean, I know a lot of people that is all you can get your hands on, and so you got to do what you got to do. I prefer using the Fox Farms potting soil. It is my favorite, hands down. It's what I drive 15 minutes down the road to go get it. It's from a place called Kinney Nursery, and it is my favorite. I love it. But Miracle-Gro has a reputation of like, sometimes there's stuff in their soil that kills everybody's crops, and it's all bad. And there's also another brand that you can also get at the orange store that it's in like a striped bag. It's usually like white and red, or it's like sometimes it's black and yellow, and they're striped. I can't remember the name of the brand, but that's what the bags looked like. And they, 2 years ago, had used manure from cows, and the cows had eaten grass that had herbicide in it, and the herbicide passed through the cows. And when it passed through the cows, they collected the cow poo to turn into the manure, and they turned it into soil, and the herbicide stayed in it, and it killed a bunch of people's stuff. And then they had herbicide in their soil for a very, very long time. So I highly recommend not buying that brand if you see striped bags. And Miracle-Gro has also been in hot heat for almost the same thing. And because of the like synthetics that are in it, people are saying that it's been killing the microbes, the good microbes that have been in their soil. So I just try to stay away from those, and I just go with the people that grow marinara. They're marinara farm based. That's their audience, and they know what they're doing because they really care about the soil health and all that stuff. So I go with Fox Farms if I can get my hands on it. I just didn't have any bags to bring down there, and that's just what we used, was Miracle-Gro. Long story. Sorry. The next question on that video was from Stacy, and she had said, stunning. Did you use Biotone or Plant Tone? I used Plant Tone just because that's what I had on hand. I do prefer the Biotone, even though I don't feel like there's too much of a difference between Biotone and Plant Tone. But if I can get my hands on Biotone, I do grab that, which reminds me that today, Brent, we absolutely need to go pick up fertilizer because I'm out of fertilizer. So if I can get my hands on Biotone, I do prefer that, but Plant Tone works just as well. I usually order everything off of Amazon, or there's an Ace Hardware just up the street that carries the entire tone line, so I will grab those. So like the Rose Tone, I use Rose Tone, Citrus Tone, and Plant Tone. Those are my three that I use the absolute most of, and I love them. And the last question, which is more of a comment, is from Janet, and she had said, nice of you, great project. I'm not a fan of rocks as it is hard on plant roots. You are a good friend. Miracle-Gro put out a nice organic mulch this year, really good quality. I am totally willing to look into the Miracle-Gro mulch. Just try it out, we'll see. But also I wanted to bring up the comment about the rocks, and I am also not a huge fan of putting rocks in the landscape bed. That is what she had. She did not want to move them. She wanted to keep the rocks there, and she had the landscape fabric down. So we decided just to leave it, and I did go in with just a little extra soil into those holes just to try to like help feed those plants just as much as I could. She has very red dirt clay, and she had rocks in her soil, and so there's not a whole lot of nutrients. I did tell her that she needed to make sure that she fertilized in the springtime. At minimum, once a year, she had to fertilize those plants. So I will be bothering her this coming spring about fertilizing them because of the landscape fabric and the rocks. There's not really anything like of nutritional value breaking down into that soil. So she's going to have to be the one to make sure that they are actually getting fed. And the rocks do cook the soil, which is, it's really hard on the roots. So if you can get away from not doing rocks in the landscape, highly recommend it. There are certain plants that are okay-ish with it, things like cactus and all that stuff, but really it's just, I don't know, not best practice, I think. I mean, do what you want in your garden. That's the way I look at gardening, is do what you want in your garden. She wanted to keep the rocks, so we kept the rocks, and I did it with a smile. The next video that we did was creating cohesiveness, planting serendipity alliums. And some of them look a little bit sad right now. Somebody had said that they require a ton of water when you first transplant them. And so we were trying to give them extra water, but they have flopped, which is totally fine. They'll be fine until next year. I'm not that worried about it because they are going to completely die back to the ground. We'll cut them back, and then they will reshoot next year, and they'll be completely happy. But they look very, very sad right now. So those poor guys. Also, that is not my rooster, if you can hear that. The first question on that video was from Karen, and she had said, how many birds will your aviary hold? The babies are adorable. The babies are so ugly, you don't have to lie, but they're really cute. The aviary, we're going to have it be capped at about 20 birds. And when we do cap it at 20 birds, we want to take the youngest birds possible out of the aviary, and we will probably just sell them back to the pet store or something like that, because these birds, they mate for life, and so we don't want to take a pair that has already decided to like pair for life and break them up. So we want to take babies once they like start to get all their feathers and they first like fall out of the nest. That way we can get rid of those ones so that they don't have time to find a mate in our aviary. So we'll cap it at about 20 birds, you know, and that's probably the max that we would want to have in there. I mean, it's a huge aviary and they have plenty enough space. We are at how many right now? 15? We have 15 plus 3 more babies right now. So we have 18 in total. So probably after this next round of babies, that's gonna be it for us. The next question on that video is from Sheila, and she had said, I love alliums. The purple flowers are so pretty. When I plant, I like to tuck my plants in for bed by stepping around the base. Do you have the spikes that you used to have in the corner so the dogs don't trample your plants? We still have the spikes. I do love them. We haven't used them for a minute because the dogs have been really good about it. Now that I have those plants there, I'm not worried about it, but those spike strips worked amazing. I am going to link those in the description down below. If you have an issue with your dogs going into your bed and you want to train them to not go into an area, you put these spike strips down and you kind of cover them with a little bit of mulch, and the second that the dogs step on them, it doesn't feel good. They're plastic spikes, so I mean, it's not going to like hurt your dog, but the dogs will step on them and it does not feel good, so they stay out of that area. And then you can slowly remove them after a couple weeks, and then the dogs just don't go in there anymore. At least that's the case with my dogs, is they no longer go in the areas where I have those spike strips at. When I extend the garden beds and I make new beds, I'm going to have to put those spike strips down because they're very used to where they can and can't go right now, that if I start taking away areas, they're going to be very confused. So it's a really good training exercise, and then we just pull them once we no longer need them in that area. We've had them for 5 years now, I think, so it was a really good investment. The next question on that video was from My Yard of Flowers, and it said, are you planning to put cardboard down where the Bermuda grass is so you do not have to hand pull? Yes and no. So in the area where I planted the phlox and where we just finished the fence, I'm gonna hand pull all of that area because most of that area is hand pulled, and I already have like eliminated almost all of the problem in that bed. When I put down the metal edging, I want to hand pull all the way up to where the metal edging is gonna go. That way I don't have to lay cardboard down and have it still creep out to an area that there already are plants. I think that that would just cause too much of an issue. So where I am creating new flower beds, where we're gonna do that backward C in the middle of our garden, where I create a small berm, we're gonna put cardboard down under there to get rid of the Bermuda problem. And then we can slowly stay on top of it should anything pop up. I expect pieces to pop up still, but this is gonna make it so that we can just slightly stay on top of it. But I don't wanna do it in every bed just because I would have to cover areas that I already have plants planted. So hand pulling for me works fabulously. It just takes a ton of time if I'm doing contained areas, which is what I'm gonna do in those areas right there. And the last question on that video is from Gina, and she had said, I just bought 25 serendipity bulbs. How many should I plant together? Your plants look like numerous bulbs. So I don't know the difference between serendipity allium bulbs that you would buy and buying a full mature plant like this. This is my first time ever growing this specific plant. And the ones that I have probably have 15 to 20 bulbs in that one plant easily. I know that they divide very easily. I've never bought the bulbs. I didn't know that that was even an option. And I don't know how much of a difference there is between the serendipity allium bulbs that you're buying and the ones from Proven Winners. I have no clue about that. So there were multiple questions on that, and I'm so sorry I cannot answer that question because I do not have a good solid answer on that. And the last video that we did was the window box refresh, and it turned out really good for a fall planter. It is definitely a springtime planter, but it is, I needed it. I needed the pop of color up there. I went all year long with very little color up there, which it was still gorgeous. It was gorgeous when the Pachoas were blooming. And looking at it, I think that what had happened was the Creeping Jenny and the Dichondra Silver Falls had grown so rapidly, so fast, that the roots just filled that entire area out, and then the Pachoas didn't have time for their roots to grow, so they couldn't put on a strong plant. So I think that that is what happened, was the Dichondra and the Creeping Jenny just exploded with growth, and the Pachoas were taking so long that by the time that they were ready to take off, there just wasn't enough like soil for them. The first question on that video was from Susan, and she had said, Robbie, if you're having issue with spider mites and aphids, by keeping the Creeping Jenny and Silver Falls, won't that just be setting your new plants for infestation? A question I really do want to know, because my instinct is to get rid of all and even the first few inches of soil. And then there was people that agreed with this comment, and I don't disagree with it, but we dealt with aphids and spider mites very early on in the season, and then we combated that issue. And we haven't had spider mite issues or aphid issues in months, so I knew that there was no chance of a problem because it's been months of no issues. So what I had thought had happened was that we had a spider mite infestation and an aphid infestation at the same time, and it had set the Pachoas back from growing, and so we combated that issue. And by the time we combated that issue, it was too late. The dichondra and the creeping Jenny had already grown with like an explosion of growth. And so there wasn't enough soil now for the Pachoas to be able to grow. And so once we combated that issue, everything was okay now. And so we weren't dealing with them recently at all. And so that's the only reason I didn't take everything out, was because we were no longer dealing with that issue. If it was an active infestation, I would love to say that I would probably take all the soil out and everything, but there is a video of me on the internet where I did not remove all the soil. So, you know, sometimes I'm just more worried about filming and I'm just going with the flow. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. There could be spider mites, there could not be spider mites. I am doubting that there are any spider mites or aphids in that soil left, because I was able to get rid of that infestation months ago. The next question on that video was from Bud, and they had said, why do you get spring and summer flowers for your fall window baskets? Just curious. The main thing was we had gone down to we had gone up to Winter Gardens, and they had nothing that could handle full hot afternoon sun for fall window baskets. I was thinking about doing mums, and I was going to do like a red color and an orange color, but mums are so short-lived, it's not worth it. And ornamental kale, because of how hot it is there, they would have just gone straight to seed, so they would have just like shot straight up with growth, so those couldn't have gone in there. And like pansies, they do good in full sun, but it cooks in that area, so I needed things that could handle a lot of intense heat. And I was actually going to buy some petunias that were an orange color, or even like I was thinking about buying the like saffron finch, so a yellow color that kind of ties into fall, but they didn't have those ones. So I just decided, you know what, we're tossing fall out the window and we're just going to go full spring colors, and it is what it is this year. So that is the reason. I just couldn't find plants that could handle full hot sun and cook in a window basket. That window basket is like intense sun. It is south facing, and it is sun from morning to the very end of the day. The next question on that video was from Sonia, and she had said, why don't you go ahead and treat them for budworms? I will go ahead and be treating this batch for budworms because I did find one hanging from a tree. So I will be treating for budworms because I would like those to look good through the rest of our season. And our season doesn't end until sometime in the very end of November, beginning of December. So I will treat those for a little bit of budworm just to be safe. And the last question on that video was from Yee Carter, and they had said, Robbie, do you decorate your house/porch for fall? I do. I love to decorate for fall, but not when we are having a heat wave of 103 degrees. It's too much. So I won't be decorating for fall probably for a little while, which is kind of a bummer because I like to decorate very early usually. But this heat wave is just not the vibe at all. 103 does not feel like fall. So I won't be decorating anytime soon, probably the end of the month. And I'm very jealous because I see a lot of other people decorating for fall right now. I have a few little touches of fall inside the house. And other than that, I think that's where we're gonna keep it. I love to do like kind of big displays, and I love to buy a ton of pumpkins and all these things because usually I can go October and November with those displays, and then I do a small refresh in December of Christmas display. So I will be decorating, it's just gonna be later than I wanted it to be this year. So that is going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for visiting our garden, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.